Limp Bizkit one of those days?
Yeah, that's definitely like Limp Bizkit. It's just one of those days.
No, I mean, I'm familiar with.
That's a deep cut.
I don't understand.
Anyway, I have 6 o'clock if everybody would join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then roll call, please.
Martin?
Here.
Schreiner?
Here.
Rovinsky?
Present.
Pappenfort?
Present.
Stevens?
Here.
Fontana?
Here.
Mayor Critelli?
Present.
A quorum is present.
I'm
Mayor's
present
too.
That works out. And up next, we have the consent agenda. Any discussion, questions, potentially a motion?
Mr.
I
Barrett?
move to combine and approve the consent agenda. Sorry, Wales.
No, you're good. Second.
All right, I have a motion from the Councilmember Pappenfort, seconded by Councilmember Martin, to combine and approve the items on the consent agenda. Any further discussion?
Fontana?
Yes.
Pappenfort?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Schreiner?
Yes.
Rovinsky?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Recording in progress.
Oh, thank you. And next we have citizen comment. Now, I have a little spiel. This is an opportunity for the city council to hear from our community. The public will be limited to 3 minutes each during citizen comments. The city council may not respond to your comment this evening. Rather, they may make your comments and suggestions and take them under advisement, and your questions will be directed to the appropriate department for follow-up. If necessary, the city administrator will correct public record. And yeah, if we do end up addressing, usually it's in council reports at the end of the meeting. So it's a disjointed way of communicating, but it is what it is. First up, we have Brian Betzold. Betzold.
Good evening. My name is Brian Bechtold. I'm a full-time Salida resident in Ward 2. You may have seen the material that I presented or I gave to the council maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago regarding the Calco building across the river, which I call the Rio Grande Back Shop because that's what it was built as. It is a railroad maintenance facility. Wales reached out to me on that, and I appreciate that, Wales. Thank you. I just wanted to appeal to the council to look into saving that structure. Salida is a community that values historic buildings. We claim to have the largest historic district in the state. And I think the Calco building would make a welcome addition to that, especially since it's across the river. And it is the last remaining railroad structure of any significance left on the site. And this town was founded on the railroad. And I think we need to keep a symbol of that history for others to enjoy in the future. The building is pretty ugly right now, for sure. The Union Pacific Railroad is in the process of tearing it down. I would propose that we allow them to mitigate whatever hazards are there, remove the shell, remove the windows, et cetera, and keep the steel superstructure. So that could be reused for any number of things. It could be the skating rink, which seems to be looking for a home. It could be markets. It could be an anchor for that side of the river for the city and S Mountain. It's just limited by our vision of what it could be. I'm sure when the steam plant became available as something the city could buy, people were thinking, what a boondoggle, why would we want that? And now it is a treasure for the city. I think that the Calco building could be the same. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate your time and I hope that you feel the urge to engage Union Pacific Railroad and see what possibilities might be of them donating it, buying it from them, whatever. They've been tearing down buildings all over the West. Let's not be one of those places. Let's save our heritage, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, appreciate it. And do we have anybody online?
We're having a problem online right now.
But no one has their hand raised.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Just state your name at the microphone and then I'll write it down. You don't have to give an address or anything, no.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, welcome, council and staff. I am Dr. Sue Sully, and I live close to the Salida Golf Course. And thanks to the management company and the staff who take such good care of our golf course, there have been a number of great improvements over the past 5 years since they were awarded this contract. The course looks great and is a splendid asset to Salida. When I moved here 12 years ago, use of the golf course for winter sports of snowshoeing and cross-country skiing was common, permitted, and even encouraged. Since a new contract was signed 5 years ago, the superintendent ensures that no one who is not a golfer is allowed on the course at any time he's at work. To reinstate winter citizen use of the course, I've made several attempts to work with the city council person for my ward, the city administrator, the Prost board, and the golf course board, but there has been no change in policy. With winter snow upon us, I again contacted my city council person. That email was forwarded to the city administrator, who gave the following response. The current operating agreement, which is valid until March 1st, 2027, does not provide for community use of the golf course during winter months. The city is renegotiating the lease with the Greater Salida Area Recreation Council. However, I do not expect there will be any change this winter. I think this is unacceptable. With the recent change to zoning as park, and with support from all the locals I've spoken with, I'm asking the council to open the course for winter use this season. I'm happy to solicit letters from other citizens who support this issue. The golf course is my neighborhood. I'd like to see the management company and the golf course board act as better neighbors, allowing citizens access to the course in winter, setting guidelines for where and how it can be used. The greens are fenced, so there will not be any damage. It would also be great if, having us as neighbors, we were treated with respect by both the course and the management. We are not currently. I ask council to act positively to make this change to restore use by all citizens of Salida as a city park. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. All right. Oh, sure, yeah. Take
So it's
that.
good to reference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Says on the bottom, by the way, AI did not write this.
I can take all of it, we can pass it around.
Thank
amongst
you.
us. Thank you. That's good to know. All right. And it did be but nobody online anyway. Okay. All right, well, I'll close the citizen comment portion and we will open up the liquor licensing authority. We are now morphing into a liquor license authority before your very eyes. This is a public hearing before the Salida City Council sitting as the Salida Local Liquor Licensing Authority on an application for a new tavern liquor license submitted by Sarah Smith, Brooke Downer, and Ann Carlsbeek on behalf of the Office Bar for the premises with a street address of 146 West Street within the city of Salida. Before the hearing begins, I will outline the manner in which the hearing will be conducted and the order in which we receive testimony. Although the authority is acting as a judge of this case, I know for the applicant and members of the public that strict rules and evidence do not apply. Any evidence that is relevant to the matter at hand may be considered by this authority. It is then up to each member of the authority to determine the credibility and weight of all such evidence as it relates to their decision. As chair, I may limit testimony or evidence determined to be irrelevant, repetitive, or cumulative. Okay, in the order of the hearing, let's see. Okay, I now open the public hearing on an application for a tavern liquor license for the office bar at 146 West Street, Salida, Colorado. I invite the clerk to provide the authority with the city's preliminary investigations, reports, and findings.
Thank you.
Here we go. And period.
Okay. We received a new tavern liquor license for the office bar at 146 West First Street on October 7th. Sarah Smith, Brooke, I'm sorry with your last name, and Ann Kalsbeck submitted the application. The notice of the public hearing was published in the Mountain Mail on October 17th. We are required by law to publish the noticing 30 days prior to the public hearing. So we met that. And the premises was posted on November 19th. It's required to be posted 10 days prior to the public hearing, so we got that. The required police and fire department inspections have been completed, got them back today, so they passed all of those. The CBI investigation background checks have been done, and there have been no issues with any of the applicants. And staff is recommending approval of the tavern liquor license for the office bar at 146 West First. And I can answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions at this point? Okay, then I invite the applicant, if they wish to present an opening statement of some kind. It could even simply be like a hi, how you doing too. It doesn't have to be a super grand thing. Yeah, the microphone would be great.
They want to hear you on YouTube, not just see you.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
We are reopening the office bar, as some of you guys know, to create a new space for the community that we thought was lacking, and that space deserves a second chance, and we are willing to do that and excited to do that.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
A great opening statement. And any questions further from the authority members? Anybody interested, a party of interest? No, okay, well,
We're all interested. but-
yes. Yes, of
Trying to
course.
not ask irrelevant questions.
Right, for sure.
That are burning in our heads.
And then the city may present evidence and witnesses if they so choose, which they do not. Any party in interest that wants to present evidence or testimony out in the chambers? No? Okay. Nothing to rebut there, but would you like to like a closing statement? Usually it's like a goodbye, have a nice one, I guess.
We're very excited. We hope to see you all there.
Good. Awesome. Okay, well then that's it for that. Not hearing any more evidence to be brought before the authority, I now close the public hearing. And the liquor authority can begin with deliberations.
And you girls are welcome to sit down.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, any deliberations?
I was gonna make a motion, but.
Oh, wow.
That does encompass
Suzanne wants
that.
to say something.
Okay, great.
I'm very excited for you ladies. I think this will be a great endeavor for you. Lots to learn, lots to do. Make sure you are planning for your winters and your summers. We know how tourism is here. And congratulations, very excited for you.
I'd like to second that. Not officially, right? Just like, I've been working with Brooke at Salida Distillery, and she's an amazing bartender, which I already knew before then, as are the others. And I think we've all missed the office bar. So very excited to be able to come and support y'all.
Great.
I move to approve a new tavern liquor license request for the office bar.
Second. Okay, we have a motion to approve the new liquor license for the office bar made by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Stevens. Any further discussion?
Stevens,
Yes.
Rovinsky,
Yes.
Tappenfort,
Yes.
Shriner,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Yay.
It's opening day.
And we have a,
Oh, yeah, yeah, when's opening day?
We
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
get the
yeah.
state license.
Yep, we're not committing.
apparently there were more
Okay.
questions than we thought we had. Okay. We have another request for the Liquor License Authority. This is a public hearing before the Salida City Council sitting as the Salida Liquor Licensing Authority on an application for a change of liquor license location submitted by Pawnee Jones to transfer her liquor license from 720 East Highway 50 to 7595 West Highway 50 within the city of Salida. I've already outlined the manner that we will approach this as the Liquor Licensing Authority. So I now open the public hearing on an application for a change of liquor license location submitted by Pawnee Jones for the premises of 720 East Highway 50 to be moved to 7595 West Highway 50, Salida, Colorado. I invite the city clerk to provide the authority with the city's preliminary investigation reports and findings.
Thank you. So this one's a little bit different. She already has a license, and it was issued last December, and she's requesting to move it from the location where she was at 720 East Highway 50 to 7595 West Highway 50. And the state requires a hearing before the Liquor Authority to approve the transfer. It's not a transfer, it's a move of location modification. So it's your approval for that, the move of that license. Staff is recommending approval, and I can answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions at this time? Okay. Now, the applicant may present an opening statement in a similar fashion as was done before. Or more in depth, or however you want to do it.
Hello, everyone. My fifth and final location.
Yeah.
I signed a 5-year lease, so it'd be great if you guys could approve it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And is there any evidence that the city wishes to provide? Any party of interest that would like to weigh in? There's nothing to rebut there, so that's easy. And you can give a closing statement, or we can move on if you'd like, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
You
Bonnie.
got it. All right. Well, not hearing any more evidence to be brought before the authority on this matter, I now close the public hearing. Liquor Authority, you may begin your deliberations.
Bonnie, I'm excited to hear you're signing a 5-year lease. That's great. And yeah, I think we're all excited that little Cambo is still here.
Yeah, just excited to see all my friends doing all this great stuff. Very proud of y'all.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion?
Absolutely.
I move to approve a change of location request for Little Cambodia LLC from 720 East Highway 50 to 7595 West Highway 50.
Second.
That's a tie. I'm gonna go with Pappenfort. All right, we have a motion to change the location of Little Cambodia LLC liquor license from 720 East Highway 50 to 7595 West Highway 50, made by Councilmember Ravinsky, seconded by Councilmember Pappenfort. Any further discussion?
Rovinsky,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Shriner,
Yes.
Tappenfort,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Fontana.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
All right, now moving on to new business. We have Resolution 20 2553, a resolution of the City Council for the City of Salida, Colorado, declaring December 9th, 2025 as Chafee Gives Day.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Betsy Dittmer with the Chaffey County Community Foundation is here to talk about Chafee Gives, and she can provide all the great information about this great day.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to present this resolution for consideration. Chafee Gives Day has just been growing exponentially year over year here in Chaffey County. I just checked the numbers and we are up to almost 511,000 raised so far this year for the Chafee Gives campaign. Last year, the total through the Chafee Gives Day was 514,000. So we're really excited about potentially surpassing that goal. I also want to give a shout out to many of the folks in the room are participating in the campaign and our representatives from local organizations up there and out in the crowd. So just a big thank you for considering this and just stressing how important it is to the community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Betsy. And also this guide with all of the QR codes is super helpful.
Oh, good.
Because the list is vast and it's really nice to be able to just see the whole list before you on one little thing.
Betsy, what are the ways you're advertising? I mean, I know it's a big campaign. Lots of us already know, but if we don't know, how are you putting it out there? How is this kind of stuff getting out there?
Yeah, so the Mountain Mail and the Chaffey County Times both had that guide as an insert in this year. We did that last year and it seemed to work really well to get those materials out to every household. We also have them placed around town at key locations. There's posters for folks that are maybe visiting town that want to find a way to give back. We also are doing radio ads. A huge shout out to Heart of the Rockies Radio for sponsoring. They've been doing a daily spotlight of an interview with each of the organizations, 30 of the organizations that were participating, so that's some extra coverage. And then on Chafee Gives Day, we'll be at Cahen from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., interviewing more causes all day long, so you can always tune in there to learn about new organizations and hear about the work they're doing and hopefully get inspired.
That's great. That sounds like a lot of advertising. So if a business wants to get involved to help promote, how does that happen?
Well, if you had, say, a business on Highway 50 with a sign, you could put Chafee Gives Day.
Hypothetically.
We actually have been reaching out to businesses to put on their signs, today is Chafee Gives Day, just as a little extra visual cue for folks who maybe have missed the rest of our advertising.
That's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other?
Yeah, I just want to say, as a participant in Chafee Gives for, all of the years that it's existed, we've seen great success at the Alliance from participating in this campaign, and I would like to say very many thanks to Betsy for providing a lot of leadership in the nonprofit community in our town. We're very lucky to have Miss Betsy and Miss Winter, who supports her wherever she goes. We appreciate you too, darling. So I just want to say thank you for bringing this in front of us and making everybody aware of it, and just generally for benefiting all of our organizations.
Any further discussion, or I'm willing to entertain a motion?
I'm not practiced. I don't know what to do.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2025-53, a resolution of the City Council for the City of Salida, Colorado, declaring December 9th, 2025 as Chafee Gives Day. Yep.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second from Councilmember Martin and Fontana to approve Resolution 2025-53, a resolution of the City Council for the City of Salida, Colorado, declaring December 9th, 2025 as Chafee Gives Day. Any further discussion? I do have a question. Is there going to be like a proclamation or something that is read aloud?
No. A number of years ago, the council identified the proclamations that would be read aloud each year. So in response to the many other worthy proclamations that could be read, this is how City Council has asked us to bring these forward. So No,
Okay, great.
Okay.
One less thing I have to read.
yes,
All right.
yes, but it is in
Just,
the
just
packet.
to know, yeah, just to know, that's the day. Okay. Oh, yeah, we have to vote.
Pappenfort,
Yes.
Shriner,
Yes.
Rovinsky,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Fontana.
Yes, and I would like to ask Betsy to please call me at the store.
Motion passed.
Okay. Moving right along to Resolution 2025-54, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Salida, Colorado, amending Resolution 2022-42, approving the development agreement for the Janes Place planned development.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Some of you are new here, so I'm Kristen Hodges, Associate Planner here. And tonight I'll be talking about Janes Place. Thank you, Christy. All right, so the first slide here, we have just a little bit of project information for Janes Place. This is developed by Chaffey Housing Authority, CHA. There are 4 buildings on site, 17 total units, and just under half an acre on the property. The rental units are focused on workforce and transitional housing, and there are a couple of small-scale commercial uses on site. And I will also mention that Marjo is here tonight representing CHA. She's the executive director, and so we might be relying on her for a few of the questions that come up. So a little bit of the timeline for Janes Place plan development. For those of you who are unfamiliar or maybe need a little reminding, a planned development is a site-specific zoning overlay, which kind of operates outside the zone district standards or code requirements. So it's kind of like its own zone district, and it's usually a negotiated process with city staff, council, planning commission, those sorts of things. And that was originally approved in June of 2021. And then later in the next year in September, council approved the development agreement. This usually follows a planned development or a PD and kind of just solidifies a little bit of the agreements that were made and put something into writing, to make sure that the agreements that were in place for the PD are going to be carried out. Things inside the development agreements are purpose of the agreement, terms and conditions, and of course, development standards and expectations. So that all happened in September of 22. And then CHA received a transformational affordable housing grant, also called the TAG grant, which is a little bit nuanced because G also means grant. But their award came in July of 23, and that helped boost construction, which started in January of this year. They've been moving right along with construction, and we're going to talk about the TAG grant in a moment too. But moving on with construction, and they're getting close to the end of that process as well as the end of the grant closeout. And in November, kind of October, November timeframe, came in with a planned development amendment, and insubstantial changes to a planned development happen administratively. So that's something that my department reviews and then is signed off by City Administrator Christy Dune. And then following that amendment we also have to look at the development agreement to be updated in the same way that the planned development amendment happened. And then, of course, like I said, we're looking at a December construction completion and grant closeout. All right, so in the council packet, I did include a redlined version of the development agreement. That's what we're here talking about tonight, and a couple of the changes that are in there. So the original development agreement included some of the inclusionary housing sections, which focused on what percent AMI some of the units would be at. But as Marjo has kind of helped me understand, there wasn't really a mechanism in place at the time for ensuring that affordability would have any length. There was no term really defined other than whatever our code kind of requires at the time. So since they've received this transformational affordable housing grant, there's been some requirements as part of that grant that Janes Place has to follow. And it's a little bit of wordsmithing and a little bit of designating of units, how many units are at what AMIs. And Janes Place is a very unique development that I do not have a lot of project history on. So if there are questions related to what exactly those changes are, you might need to rely on Marjo or Community Development Director Bill Almquist for those. But here we are tonight, and we are talking about the main changes in the agreement, which are 12 units become unrestricted, 12 units become restricted at equal or less than 100% AMI. 5 units are unrestricted. Rent is 30% of imputed income limitation for designated units. The affordability period is going to be 30 years. At the end of that 30 years, if CHA sells the property or something happens, we know what CHA's guidelines are, and those align well with the city's. If they were to sell it to a different managing company, they would still have to follow whatever inclusionary housing code is in place at that time. So a little bit of the information on that agreement has just been clarified and matches what the grant will have, what the agreements of the grant have been. A couple other minor updates are CHA does not want to have to charge for parking, so that's been removed from the development agreement, and the updated construction schedule, which is mostly just procedural since it's been changed. We're updating the development agreement, showing an updated, more accurate construction schedule as well as that. So, in summary, the intent of the project is still to prioritize this affordable housing options for residents. Most of the language is being maintained, clarified. We have longer durations for the affordability periods, and staff is supportive of these changes as was shown in the administrative review of the plan development amendment. So lots of words, and I'm happy to try to answer questions. We can also pull up Marjo and Bill as necessary.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I'm curious to learn a little bit more when it says that this TAG grant defines area median income thresholds differently than the original terms. Does that mean that you guys are able to use other data for determining the rent levels other than AMI?
We're still using Chaffee County levels for AMIs.
Okay, so, I was just curious if there's a way to get around AMI still, but.
Can you just tell us what 100% of AMI is?
This year, it's 72,000.
Okay.
Not rent, just the AMI.
Just,
For one person, yes.
Yeah,
And
got
there's a chart based on
yeah.
household size.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a few, but I have a feeling they're mostly for Marjo.
That's probably likely.
Hey, girl, sorry.
Yeah, I'll stay by. I'm on standby.
Oh, thank you.
I know that AMI can be triggering because everyone doesn't understand it. But the main thing to understand about how it works is it's a mechanism for us to do income qualification. And so if you're equal to the AMI, it is 30% of your income. So when you're doing apartments, our goal is to get people, cost burdened is you start to get in there around 40, depending on where you are. 50% is extreme. Don't let people go there unless they can prove some reason for it. So our goal is to have people between that 30 and 40%. And so AMI actually does equivalent to 30%. The thing that triggers that everyone needs to understand is like, what AMI levels do we need the most of in terms of apartment availability? Mm-hmm. So they're equal in that regard to that 30%. So as we look at Jane's Place and how we're trying to figure out both how to meet $218,000 in debt service every year and subsidize a homeless shelter for unsheltered families and seniors and cover the cost of nonprofit properties, there's a certain amount of revenue we have to get out of the apartments. There's still a bunch we have to do grant writing for on the nonprofit sides. So our span of housing, as we think about like, who are we providing housing for at Jane's Place? 4 of those units, and whether they're the unrestricted or not, they kind of move around. It's complicated math and square feetage, but 4 of those units are going to be Molly House, and those are for 30% AMI and below. One of the apartments in the 13 units, that is Jane's Place Apartments, because there's 4 uses, right? We've got Jane's Place Apartments, Molly House, the nonprofit coffee shop, and the nonprofit hub. So there's 4 uses in the total project site. The apartments themselves are 13 units, and those were the ones that are more designed for workforce. And so in those, we've got 1 set at 30%, 2 that we're looking at 70, the rest of them are only gonna be around 80, and we might do the 2 bedrooms at 90. We're gonna play around with that. We're providing some ranges maybe, but we know for sure when we run our financials based on the property as a whole, the Molly House and the nonprofits, that our minimum units that we can afford on 12 of them is at 80%. And that's
When you had those stats just a few minutes ago.
Can you
about
pull the
one at
microphone?
30%.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, sorry. Thank you. The one at 30% and the other one, 2 at 70, I think you said. How long would those be leased to a person?
Well, within this project, there was some uniqueness. TAG also requires 1-year leases
Okay.
as an option. So most people, we have a big flux in the fall and the winter of midterm rentals. There's a lot of rentals out right now if you haven't been online and looked around. But it all comes to a crisis in May. So a lot of people do want long-term rentals. So we're trying to decide if we'll do 3 months on all of them. Every time we turn over an apartment, increase our costs. So we don't want everyone to be on a 3-month lease, because that won't help us be sustainable. But we have options. Initially when this project was designed, there was a lot of need for, people moving into town and short-term leases, and some of that pressure is lifted up. We will still offer that as an option. We might use Molly House because those are all furnished. And they won't always be occupied. We're trying to figure out sort of the business model on Molly House itself.
I know what it is, but can you just tell us really briefly what Molly House is versus these other spots, just in case
Yeah,
people
so
don't know?
Molly House is a new, who was on the original PD? Who's been in this that long? Okay. So, this project has evolved over time. And so some of the original intentions were the Molly House, which is named after the architect, Bob Creether's daughter, was going to be a place for the warming shelter with Chiefy Hospitality. And over the course of the past year, we've gone through a lot of dialogues, and it is not the best place by standards of care. And so we're looking at other alternatives for hospitality to have a warming shelter. But what it is really appropriate for is a program that we run with DHS, which is called the Stable Families Program. And so those were taking families that have lost a job and as a result got evicted or lost their rent or their home because of increasing rents or just bad luck, or it got sold and they're suddenly unsheltered. We can provide transition in partnership with DHS for families. And so we have been putting them in hotels, and there are pros and cons to that, lots of cons. And so Molly House is going to serve that need. We have also seen a very large, significant increase in seniors who are unsheltered. And so we're thinking that one of the 2-bedroom units will actually be used for seniors who are on a wait list to get into one of the senior apartments. So that's 4 of the units, very, very low income. The other 13 units will be there's one apartment that's intended for, it's going to be a master lease to Alpine Achievers for their AmeriCorps members. And so that one's set at 30% AMI. And then we have 2 studios at 70% AMI. And then we have the remaining 8 1-bedrooms at 80%. And then we have 2 2-bedrooms. Those 2 2-bedrooms are the unrestricted. So technically, with this grant, the way the TAG grant is set up, the max income is 100% AMI. Typically, when you don't have flexibility in a project, like 505, we're restricted to 80. If someone comes in at 81% of AMI, we can't house them. So even though it says 100% as the ceiling, what that does is allow us flexibility if someone is just slightly over based on our goals for where we want our rents to be. So that's the long short. So the major shift, to be clear, is when there was a brilliant idea here that this project would serve everything from doctors to homeless. And we would charge 30% of whoever showed up as rent, whatever their income was, with no plan for knowing who was going to be in there or any ability to sort of set a minimum amount of money to pay debt service. And so that's what we're really trying to do, is figure out what is the minimum amount we need to cover debt service until we get stabilized. And it takes a new affordable housing project 3 to 5 years to get stable, and then you sort of like get out of the panic mode of operations. So that's really like when I started reading through it, I came in and was like, okay, explain what this means in here, because we're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to go from 0 to 200% AMI. One, there's a market thing. You can't charge somebody market rate and they're making $200,000 a year, and you're like, well, that's 30% of your income, so that's going to be $3,000 a month for this 640 square foot apartment. It just doesn't work that way. So that's the primary change, is just trying to help us create consistency with our TAG grant on those restricted units, and then to ensure that we can meet that minimum debt service.
Can you share what that is? Like, what is that
Debt?
dollar amount?
The debt?
Yeah,
$218,000 a year.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, not small.
That was awesome. Any other questions? That.
Is the 5 number, is that absolutely necessary? I'm very comfortable with changing the schedule and the parking situation, but having 5 units unrestricted seems high. Is that the
Only
number that you came up with that was
The 5
necessary?
it's just the way the grants work. Some of it is they allow you some unrestricted units in order to help you with cash flow. Again, we only have 2 units that are technically unrestricted, but we're still looking at them as workforce housing. And then 2 of Molly House are in that unrestricted, but they're going to be housing unhoused families. So I can't change the grant terms, but our project management.
I mean, that was one of my questions, is like, what, because knowing how this works, like, what are the grant terms and restrictions, not just this grant, but maybe other ones that you have as well, that are creating barriers to just doing what you need to do?
Well, I mean, maybe I don't see it as a barrier, because I think we are doing what we need to do. And, most of these grants have a goal of achieving housing affordability. And this one actually provides quite a bit of flexibility compared to some others. The one stipulation in this one that actually got removed was initially federal money, which has all sorts of other requirements within it, but it got blended in with state funds, which sort of gave us more flexibility and not having to report some metrics back to the state. So I was grateful for that. I mean, I feel like we've been quite fortunate. Do we need more money? Yes. Could we do more with more money? Yes. And, I think what we've learned from Jane's Place, just to be like, I don't want to take all your evening, but, you'll hear an update on Flour Mill very soon. We're going to State Housing Board on the 9th for the last final funding. That's been another project many of you have been very involved in. And one of the things that we are learning is within these grants, because they allow averaging, we're starting with that flexibility that where you have those unrestricted units, what it allows you to do is potentially put someone in a rental at 110% AMI, but then put a 30% unit in. And so one of the ways we're getting diversity in rents is by having flexibility within the grants, where we're like 505 is 80% AMI and that's it. Like, we can't do anything else. Years from now, we might have more flexibility just because we will also be in a stability period in terms of that property. But this is a pretty good grant in the regard of allowing us to have flexibility for what we're trying to do.
I think the heart of my question is, because it allows up to 5 units to be unrestricted. could that number come down to 4 or 3 or
It is
2 and
two
still work?
currently.
It's 2
The
currently.
grant is signed. There's no changing the grant with the state. Our mission, if you look at our mission and what we're trying to achieve, we do rentals at 100% AMI and below. Like, that's what our mission is. We do homeownership with the city in partnership that then gets into sort of your missing middle. 2 of those units of the unrestricted are less than 30% AMI. That means somebody earning less than $20,000 a year. So that's what we're planning on using those for. And then the other 2 are the 2 bedrooms that we're assigning at 90% AMI based on what the market will absorb.
And to reiterate a little bit too, as Marjo pointed out, the original agreement didn't have an AMI cap. I mean,
Yeah, I could have gone up to 200.
It was just 30% of your income. So
Right.
it looks like we're going to 30% AMI, but that's not true. Like we're going from 200% AMI to 100% capped AMI and keeping the 30% income limit.
On the 12 units.
All of them are affordable housing.
Yeah.
Can I reiterate what you just said so I can make sure I understand it correctly? You are saying there's 5 units that you are proposing to be unrestricted.
No, that's TAG, the grant
They
stipulates.
allow you to
yeah.
have 5 that are unrestricted. And so we're wanting to make the change to the agreement that says if you need to, you can go up to 5 that are unrestricted. Yes?
Well, no, we're just saying, can we make this agreement consistent with the grant? Let me give you an example of how we joked in the office about the prior way it was written. In the prior one, the way fair housing works, on fair housing rules, the very first person that is in line on an apartment unit gets a fair shot at getting that unit. So let's say that everyone who showed up was making $40,000 a year. And by fair housing law, which I am also bound to in these grants, we would have to rent to them under the old terms at 30% of their income. That would have been about $600 per unit. Great for them, we would be bankrupt in a year. Flip side of that, under the old way it was written, because there were no caps, someone who shows up makes $100,000 a year, they would be first in line. And so what we are doing and the way that we are managing this is actually ensuring that by saying we would like to rent to people earning this amount of money in the workforce, that we are setting those units aside and ensuring that they go to specific different levels of income. I had no restrictions in the last one, other than fair housing rules.
So then the 5 unrestricted units, you could do what you needed to do with those. Maybe you could charge them more, or maybe, maybe we're going to charge this person less.
Yeah.
It lets you decide.
It does. And so as an example, for the next year, we have a continued partnership with DHS. Our grant funding for that program runs out at the end of 2026. We are all working intently to try to find different models, revenue models, grants to maintain that program. We've been able to move 33 families through since 2004, 27 successfully into permanent housing. That's a really cool program here. It's not inexpensive to house people for free. If for some reason, like the way we're trying to develop the model because of this unrestricted is, the initial intent of some of those shorter term leases was, let's say there's a teacher who has a job offer and they're moving to town and they can't find a place to live or they need someplace for 2 weeks while they get into their rent, or someone has a gap between when their lease ends and their new lease begins. We could potentially use those 4 units at Molly House as that interim for all sorts of folks without having to pay attention to income, mainly thinking about housing stability. And that would be one of the ways we would both support Molly House long-term sustainably, as well as cover another gap where people are having to go to a hotel or stay with friends or get a Airbnb, not to challenge the Airbnb people. Or 2 years from now, we find that, let's say there's a massive economic downturn and, wages go down and we need to adjust our rents. potentially we could reuse any of those 5 units to help subsidize the rents that we have to drop. But that's not our intent. Our intent is to have 30 to 90 with flexibility if someone earns 100.
Yeah, and the new members on council, again, this is a project that, trudged through the pandemic. The intense rise in costs of building materials, it overcame Tabor. I think I've attended so many local fundraisers at the high school for this project that it feels kind of like Groundhog Day. But by all means, new members that get caught up to speed on this. I will note, this was also pretty early on in our council, just even forming the words and terminologies for inclusionary housing. So that terminology is reflected in this of having to update it just to align with.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just asking a million questions. I just want to make sure I understand. So so we have these 5 flexible units, right? How do you make those decisions? Is it just kind of a case by case? Is there a case manager who recommends we should take this course of action with this family for this unit?
Flexible does not mean every time someone comes in to get leased up that we're changing it. Again, 2 of them are in Molly House. They're not doing anything other than housing families and seniors. And then the 2 bedrooms we're going to release rents tomorrow if I make it through this meeting. We'll be leasing at 90% AMI. If a couple came in and they're like, oh, we're over 90, because we have that 100% cap or unlimited cap, we could still rent to them at that rent. All it does is ensure that they don't get disqualified. That's the main difference. It becomes income qualification, which for any deed restricted property, you have to go through income qualification. Those income limits, the restrictions, determine whether someone does or does not qualify. So if somebody comes in for the 12 units that are income restricted and they're at 101% of AMI, they can't live in those 12 units because of this. What we could do, potentially move them into one of the others, the 2 bedrooms. So that's how it works. It's really related to the income qualification process. The rents we set at different ranges.
Sounds like this has been very productive with, the restrictions of the grant. It's forced you to rework this stuff because you've brought to the table, we have to break even. We have to pay the debt service. And so it's just been a big learning curve, and now it's where it needs to be.
Lots of work.
Yeah, I understand the AMI part now. My question is why the rent equal to or less than 30% has to change for those 5 units.
So if I went by the language in here, so again, if I'm setting an apartment, designating it, as the language says, by unit versus household. So by a unit, we're designating units at 70% AMI, which for the sake of...
Your glasses are in front of your computer.
Is that what they are? That's perfect. Thank you. Income qualification happens 2 ways. It first happens by what is your household size, and then what is the income for that household size. So there's this complex chart that gets us to AMI. Another day we'll do a work session in this because it actually is really useful. The way this works is when it computes rent, it includes, it says your rent will be about 30% of that income. And granted, someone might be in between, right? And that's why we're like, if they're at that 40% level, that's probably too much rent for them. And we'll housing navigate them into something that's more appropriate. But for someone who's earning 70%, that's about $50,000 for one person. And so that is the 30%. Their rent, we're actually setting it below that, to be honest, when we release rents. It'll be under what is recommended by CHAFA as 30%. So CHAFA already figures that out when they're looking at if you're designating a unit at X, you want that rent to be roughly equivalent to 30% of that income. What happens though is someone who might need a unit at Riverbend, or they need a unit at Salida Ridge, which is very affordable because it's built a different way, and they're stretching to try to qualify for an apartment, and we're setting different sort of requirements around trying to keep people in that 30 to 40% of their rent. It's hard to explain to folks, as you might imagine, but we're getting there. We've got a lot of tools in the office now. And then, if it is too much rent for them, our goal is to try to find them an apartment that is more appropriate for their income level, or help them figure out other ways to free up resources. And we do a lot of that every single day. So it isn't, if I use this again as an example, if I went with what you had initially advised, which was no limit on income, open to everybody, whoever showed up first in line, we would take their rent. And what that does not allow us to do, because we can't predict who's going to show up, we can't turn people away. We cannot have someone apply for an apartment and then say no, just because we think we're not going to get enough money from them based on the old 30% model. Housing authorities are doing this. This is what a housing authority does, but it is very deeply subsidized by other resources to maintain income revenue feasibility. So it's nuanced, the difference is versus household to unit. And so we're just putting different units under certain incomes, which is very, very standard in affordable housing. In fact, it's every other project in town. This one would have been very unique. So I highly recommend everyone to come to, I think you all, maybe the new people have not. Oh my gosh, maybe I haven't sent you both ribbon cutting.
I think it was in our second update.
I sent it.
There's a public open house for anyone in the community who wants to attend, 12 to 2 on the 19th, and then the ribbon cutting is invite RSVP for electeds, grantors, that same day at 2:30. I can explain it all again. See it in person.
For the coffee shop that
Yes.
Achieve is doing, I assume rent is something that you will collect from them. Is there any other source of revenue that you'd be getting from the organization? Yes, it is a nonprofit, but so I understand that.
We will
Okay.
be figuring out ways to do fundraising for those programs as well. It was not designed to have the commercial, that could be something different in a future project, which is have some commercial built into a project that could help bring in more revenue. The nonprofit hubs will not bring in much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Marjo, maybe, I know every year we try to revisit our inclusionary housing, just to stay up to date with the ever-changing terminologies. I think it'd be cool to have, tie in maybe some affordable housing 101 or just updates
Yep.
as they come along, just so we stay up to date. Especially, I think this is a prime example of one of those projects where we received little to no pushback from the community, universally
Yeah, it was
loved
very
and
community
received,
driven, yeah.
and still takes forever and a day to make happen. And while that is happening, things change along the way, and we have to constantly update. So, as we approach that year of, looking at our own policy, it'd be good to just see what's happening, get the updates, and refine as much as we can.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
happy to participate in that.
Any further?
I would offer a motion.
Okay.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-54, amending the development agreement for the James Place Plan Development.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second made by Councilmember Pappenforth, seconded by Councilmember Fontana, to approve Resolution 2025-54, amending Resolution 2022-42, improving the development agreement for the James Place Plan Development. Any further discussion?
Schreiner,
Yes.
Rovinsky,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Happenfort,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay, we are moving on to council reports. Council Member Schreiner?
Woo, all right. Yes, so fundraising was a bit of a theme tonight. And as a nonprofit executive director, I want to just reiterate the importance of this time of year for our community service providers and our nonprofits and the folks who are filling in the gaps that we as a government can't fill. It's tough times out there, y'all. The federal funding, if we hasn't already been yanked away, is probably not coming to save us all. And so on, Chafee Gives Day or Colorado Gives Day, or, today is Giving Tuesday, is it not? Yes. Just remember that we really need investment from the community. We can't do the things that we do without the community investing in the services that we really want to see happening here. There's only so much that we up here can do. There's only so much that, our city, our department heads and our public safety and our first responders can do. So we really need folks to come together and take care of our little corner of the world right now, because it's unlikely that, a rescue is coming from somewhere outside of city limits. So I just want to highlight that need for everybody. I will not plug a certain organization of which I am the director, but I'm just saying we were voted best nonprofit for 5 years in a row. So please keep that in mind as you are getting slews of emails today and for the rest of the season. I also wanted to just make a quick comment about Jane Whitmer. I don't know if anybody up here knew Jane, but I was pretty good friends with her. And as we're looking at, plans to implement this development that was really built in her legacy, I want to acknowledge all the ways that Jane's Place is reflective of who Jane was as a person, some good and some challenging. The idealism and the good-heartedness and the returning to why we did this in the first place is something that I know Jane's Place has been it's been a process, and it's not always been a pleasant or smooth process, but I think it's important as we keep talking about this and see it come closer and closer to fruition that we remember why we did this in the first place. There was a really important member of this community who cared very deeply about making this place accessible to everyone and to caring for some of the most invisible and most vulnerable of the community. And so we can talk about AMIs and percentages, and I know that when we get up here, the bureaucracy is what we're here for, but when we're mired down in that, I just want to bring everybody back to the reason why we started doing it in the first place. And it was to honor the gal who I tap danced with and, did community theater with. And so helpful to just keep in mind that this is based in an actual person's legacy in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Fontana.
All right. First, I would like to acknowledge Sue Sully's comments around the golf course. I know she already left. But we have, I would like for her to hopefully reach out to me. We have a golf course meeting next week, so I'm hoping to get some updates. We are they're doing a lot of improvements for next year, and I know that there has already been talk about, renewing the lease and things like that. So that is coming. I mean, there are talks already about that. So I definitely want her to be reassured and the people that she's talking to be reassured that the golf course board does know that, the Salida Greater Recreation Board does know about these things, and there are talks coming. So that's a positive thing for her. As that was designated parks, as does our city administrator. So we know that that lease is coming and all of those good things, positive things will come out of that. The second thing, I do have a finance committee update. I was online for the last update, but the finance committee has already discussed some things that will be on the agenda. One of the things I asked for a priority or an agenda for the next meeting is our S&P Global Ratings. That is the Standard & Poor, S&P is a national credit rating agency that evaluates the financial strength of our local governments and our abilities to meet our debt obligations. So, and I know this is out there. Our S&P rating went down as a city. It went from an A+ to an AA- recently because of our projected budget deficits. With that, I know that our finance team has been working very hard, and when we balanced that budget, we worked very hard to get our reserves up. And we did from the time we first talked about our budget until that budget was passed. In saying that, we as a council need to make sure we stick with our budget as long as as well as our department heads and such like that. And I know our treasurer will possibly have more to say about that. And so our finance team does know that that is going to be a priority on our next meeting. So that's all for my report.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Peppenfort.
On Dr. Sue Sully, I would like to see the contract renegotiated and access created for the public, because it's been a sore spot for the public for a long time. And now that it's a park, let's get the public in there.
I support that.
Thank you. And then I didn't make the finance meeting, nor the other meeting, so I have no reports on CHA or finance. Thank you very much. That's all I have this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Stevens.
So they hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. The holidays are upon us. Just want to make sure everybody knows, to buy local if you really want to see the change in our town or things, that stay the way they are or get better. The only real way to do that is to spend your money here in town at the local businesses. So get out there, buy your gifts for Christmas, as many as you can here in town, and just support local. And that's all I need.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Ravinsky.
Nothing to report tonight.
Okay. Councilmember Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to propose a change of schedule for the upcoming council meetings. When we have council meetings on election nights, it makes it a bit hard to stay focused and to remember the priorities as to why we are here. So I would like to propose maybe for the first November regular meetings to be combined with the work sessions on Mondays for the first meetings of November, just moving forward, if I have any support from that.
Yeah, I support that, however we get there.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who was there for the parade of lights, all of our constituents who came out, and for the fire truck that we had out there.
And the fireworks.
And the fireworks, of course, yes. That was just such a fun time, and really glad it wasn't snowing this time. And, I guess I wanted to discuss briefly the issue of the Calco building that Mr. Bechtold had brought up. When I did reach out back to him, I did tell him that I had concerns about the cost of any renovation that would happen. We think about the ongoing maintenance that we have with the steam plant. We would have to hire people to take care of it. So there are costs that would come that we saw happen with the steam plant. And though we all do love the steam plant now, we're also seeing some of the impacts of taking something as an asset without fully thinking about some of the unintended consequences, especially with financial ones. But I just wanted to see if anybody else had any other thoughts on it. Because I know that Mr. Bechtold is still here and you stayed through the whole time and I appreciate that a lot. So I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts.
Well, I will say that it was very sad when the railroad bridge was taken out. It was beautiful. We loved it. It was gone. Same with the roundhouse. It was just gone. So I understand where he's coming from. You know, there's something that could be saved. I just don't see how the city could do it with the tightness of our budget for years, that we could take something on like that. But it would be cool if UP would leave the structure, the steel part of the structure, to be dealt with later.
When he was speaking, I was thinking about Forrest Whitman. Anybody? Yeah. And I thought, what a, again, speaking about Jane, right? What an opportunity to see if there's some way to honor a leader in our community who is not with us anymore. I mean, I hear you, like, the money is not there, but you hear me talk about public-private partnerships to an obnoxious degree. And I wonder if there's, maybe not a financial way, but is there a way that we can facilitate something if someone were interested to? I mean, in the end, it's private property. We don't, we can't strong arm them into it, but I wrote down while you were speaking, memorial to Forrest. And so I just think it's worth throwing out there, especially, given this topic is on the table. If there's something there,
Yeah, I guess.
can we facilitate in some way?
I guess anytime we talk about UP, we just talk about, like, are we even at the table in any capacity?
We are. I have direct line to someone,
No.
real estate manager at UP. I know.
That's awesome.
Weird. He calls me back even.
We really cannot understate how incredible that is, actually, that you're actually talking about a real person.
He is a real
Not
person.
even like AI or
Met him. I met him. Yeah. I know it's weird.
IRL, really?
So yeah, I know.
Wow, okay.
Made eye contact, didn't have 6 fingers. Not AI.
Wow, that's
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I would say, listening to him speak and having conversations about it, the perfect world would be the building gets donated, as he mentioned might be a possibility, and the ice rink people make it an ice rink. And then maybe we name it after Forrest. That's a perfect world, I think.
And maybe Ramps and Alleys is part of that as a year-round, skating, whatever.
Who says no?
Complex, I don't know, extravaganza, I don't even know what you would call it.
So see if it's on our wish list for Christmas this year. Santa gonna give us a
Santa,
building?
bring us a...
A big,
real
big,
building.
awesome building for
I think, I guess.
steel.
I'm ready to write something.
I know.
Okay.
Maybe we
Oh,
could
no,
relocate
this is
it
what
to
I
the
wanted,
South
though.
Park
I wanted
neighborhood.
discussion.
Yeah, I guess the ask would be to see what actual possibilities, other than just full blanket a demo, are available, if anything.
Oh, God.
I do want to just caution us with just taking another donation of an asset without fully thinking about the financial impact. So I think maybe having a conversation just to think about it first, and then and going from there.
Sure. And there were, if you all recall, when the property was for sale across the tracks and UP was selling that, there were so many stipulations that went along with that, including, kids can't spend a lot of time on the property. People couldn't sleep on the property. You couldn't have a dog park on the property. Yeah, there was a gag order. There were a lot of stipulations to that property, and I don't expect that there would be any less on a site that could potentially have additional issues with it. I will absolutely reach out to agree with Councilmember Martin that there could be significant issues that come along with that, and the long-term prospects of cleaning it up, making it usable for the community, we'll just have to take into consideration. I would love it if there was community support for it that came along with assistance with any types of funding for remediation or anything like that. I can definitely start working on it. They're not going to be doing anything over the winter. They won't be starting up again until April. So there is some time to at least have that conversation.
Cool. Thank you. And that is it for tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, my report. I wanted to just again thank Sam Light for the presentation last night. CIRSA training, in my experience, has usually been delivered pretty dry. This was actually pretty engaging. And I thought it would be valuable to have that same presentation to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning has been on my mind because they're now given more power with our new land use code. And with that, I think should come more training, but also I think when it comes to terms being up, it shouldn't lately or over the years it's been a kind of a perfunctory, if you want the seat you should get. I think there should be more scrutiny to that seat with that added power. Not scrutiny, not in a bad way, but yeah, I think with that added responsibility should come those similar stuff to what we have in these seats. Other than that, that's all everything else was kind of covered. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, the Parade of Lights was great too. I walked in it, which was crazy. I didn't think, it was great, and it wasn't even really that cold.
I know, it was mild.
Yeah, and it was really well attended. It was awesome.
Mr. Mayor, you don't need support for like CIRSA presentation at the Planning Commission, right? Like when you give direction to staff, you don't need support? Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's councils just don't like that, what I'm saying at all, in which case I would take it back, but it sounds like we're on a similar page there. Planning and zoning is getting more power, and they should have more responsibility there. Okay. Attorney report, which wouldn't be here because,
Yeah,
right?
he signed off
Oh,
already.
did he sign off?
Yeah.
Bedtime, Jeff's bedtime.
Okay, treasurer report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also wanted to speak a little bit about the Standard & Poor's rating change. A little history. We got a rating from Standard & Poor's when we chose to finance the fire station. And so they come back and they speak with us on a yearly basis to update our rating. And their rating scale is a little confusing. AAA is the top of their scale. So I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, A+ was a good thing. So now they did change our rating from a AA- to an A+, which is a downgrade. And that was because recent and projected budget deficits have reduced operating revenues and are expected to continue doing so without meaningful budget adjustments. But I want to reiterate that an A+ rating is still considered an investment grade rating on the S&P rating scale. Although this downgrade is concerning and something we should focus on. And as Councilmember Fontana said, and I want to let council know that the Finance Committee has plans to work closely with staff to uncover solutions to address this situation. So stay tuned and we'll give recommendations back to council at a later date. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. And department.
I do have a couple of things, actually. Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
I do want to thank you all for your engagement last night with Sam. I thoroughly enjoy listening to him present and provide training, so I hope that you all found it worthwhile as well. I know it was a long day. We'll definitely get him back here once we have the new planning commissioners seated. I think after the first of the year, we'll have some new planning commissioners, so I think that'll be a really good idea. And I will obviously invite all of you, because you just didn't get enough last night. You live. Tagging on to what Councilmember Stevens brought up about shopping locally, the Downtown Business Group is starting a passport program. So if you go to participating businesses, pick up a passport, spend $10, you get a sticker. And after you've spent $100 at the businesses, you can hand it in and go into a drawing for a prize downtown. So hopefully you all are shopping locally we have a lot of really great things that are going on downtown, and really excited to soon be able to unveil Downtown Colorado Inc.'s final report. Catherine was in town this morning meeting with the Downtown Business Group, and they are just super excited with everything that's happening. It was cool. It was really cool. Thank you for being there, Councilmember Schreiner. It was, yeah, they were excited about stuff, and yeah, in a good way. Last thing I wanted to mention also is the parade. It's such a fabulous event for our community. It's beautiful to see all the little kids, how excited they get, and the Santa and the fireworks. And so I just wanted to, a shout out to our fabulous fire department who supports the fireworks. And just a reminder, you know, for many years, the Salida Business Alliance funded and organized the Parade of Lights and the accompanying fireworks show. And they did a great job doing that. And when they dissolved, High Country Bank stepped in to support the tradition, and we absolutely appreciate everything that High Country Bank has done to keep it going. With that sponsorship, High Country Bank last year stepped back from wanting to sponsor those fireworks, understanding that it may not necessarily align with their full mission. So this year, we are so proud that the community stepped up to help support the fireworks. Historically, the city's contributed to the event through staff support, such as the firefighters overseeing the fireworks, and the funding itself for the fireworks has come from the community. And I think it's really important to remember that this has always been a community-sponsored, community-leveraged event. We're deeply grateful to the local businesses, residents, volunteers who generously, once again, made this year's fireworks display possible. Special thanks to Michael Massell and Aaron Bridwell for their outstanding leadership and coordination in organizing the fireworks effort. Their dedication and commitment ensured that this community tradition continued to shine for us, and they raised $10,000 for us to purchase the fireworks in approximately 2 weeks. It was outstanding. So title sponsor was Full Circle Real Estate Group, Methodist Mountain sponsors all over the fun overalls, Salida Gun Shop, Excel Energy, Tenderfoot Mountain sponsors were the Mountain Ventures, Poncho Lumber, and Cravonic Jewelers. As always, thank you to the fire department for working on this, the overtime, the council for supporting this process as well. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I don't have. I know, right? All right, well, I don't have anything else on the schedule other than a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
Who's ever been opposed? Oh, yeah. I don't want to go home.
News.
Yeah.
It's only 7:30. What?
I just